Makadi henyu. Good day. Welcome to Mnandi Africa. Mnandi Africa is an organization that improves rural livelihoods in Zimbabwe using agriculture as a tool to reduce poverty and malnutrition. My name is Ramisa Mashimba. I am the founder and director. Before I go into my presentation, I'd like to just share with you just a little bit about who I am. I'm a young woman farmer, and I started farming when I was 20 years old in a country where the average age of a farmer going into agriculture is 65 years. Currently, I run a farm of 650 hectares, and I've got a plantation for timber. I grow commercial and seed maize, wheat, and I export peas into the European market. I have won multiple awards in agriculture. Some of them are Best Pea Grower in 2015, Farm Leader of the Year 2017. As a result of the success that I've managed to achieve at such a young age, I have been the first person to be elected to be chairperson of the Zimbabwe Farmers Union. This has never happened in over 75 years. Agriculture plays a pivotal role in the Zimbabwe economy. It currently contributes 10 to 14% to the national gross domestic product and has a potential to grow. Over 60% of our population of 14 million people currently live in the rural areas and depend on agriculture as their main household income. 90% of the rural farmers are living on communal land, which is less than 1 hectare, and they primarily depend on old-fashioned, manual, labor-intensive farming practices like you can see in the pictures. These farming practices do not deliver high yield output. Due to the application of these archaic practices, the majority of these communal farmers are living below the poverty datum line. You might be wondering, why are communal farmers in Zimbabwe so poor? Well, it boils down to these 4 major challenges. 1, farmers lack agriculture knowledge that is required for them to effectively achieve high yield ratio. Number 2, they're unable to source agriculture tools as they depend primarily on labor-intensive, ineffective practices. Number 3, they're unable to access markets. Communal farmers' yields are too small for them to organize themselves to deliver to organized retailers. As a result, the farmers end up selling their produce on the side of the road or through middlemen, which doesn't provide them high profit margins. Number 4, the post-harvest losses. The post-harvest losses in Zimbabwe are so high because they lack drying facilities, storage, and transportation to market. FAO predicted last year that on average, each farmer loses 30% because they... You might be wondering, why are communal farmers... Our goal as Mnandi Africa is to revolutionize the way communal farming is performed. This will improve outputs and enhance rural livelihoods of communal farmers. We aim to use a 4-stage approach. The first is promoting knowledge and awareness of efficient, effective agriculture practices. This is done through formal training. Number 2 is giving access to affordable, effective agriculture technology. When I say agriculture technology, I mean tractors for tilling land, planters to plant the seed, boom sprayers to spray crops against pests and diseases. Also access to solar-powered pumps so that they can irrigate their crops. Number 3 is connecting the communal farmers to new markets. Number 4, after they've harvested, is offering them a facility where they can dry their grain, we can clean it, we can store it, and we can also transport the produce to the market. So a bit more detail on our solution. So the first stage, which is the promoting of knowledge, what we do here is that we run field days before each planting season. During our field days, we get to invite experts. Experts come on to train the farmers. They actually demonstrate on the land exactly what they mean by good agriculture practices. We also share knowledge during the field days on markets that are available for farmers to grow. So we also call in retailers who also will share exactly what the market is looking for. We provide a mentorship program for farmers. So mentees can sign on to be mentored by a mentor. During the field days, we also identify equipment needs that the community has, and the farmers can sign on a calendar exactly when they would want equipment to come onto their plots of land. So we have a database which we use to follow up on progress that each farmer who attended our training is achieving. Stage 2 is giving access to effective, affordable equipment. So the farmers will let us know the equipment that they require. When I say equipment, what I mean is tractors for tilling their land, planters to plant their crops, exactly what sort of planter they need, boom sprayers to spray against infestations of pests and diseases on the farmer's land. We also have a program where we group farmers and support them with their own equipment. The third stage is now farmers coming on and becoming contract farmers. Currently, we grow for some established markets. For example, Seedco, which is one of the biggest seed grower in Africa. So farmers can then, after we have seen that they have understood good agriculture practices, they also are now using equipment. They can now also join the contract that we have, and together we can supply one market. The stage 4, which I haven't highlighted here, is the access to drying and storage facilities, because currently that is an area that we would want to expand in and start offering storage and grain storage facilities for farmers. You might be wondering how we are certain that our model works. Well, I'd like to share with you a case study of a lady called Mnandi. So Mnandi, when I first met her, I remember she had a bent back and cracked feet. I sat down and I started talking to her about what her farming practices were like. And she mentioned that she harvests 250 kgs a hectare. And then she sells a bit of that and makes about $60. That is the only income she has the whole year. And that is way below the World Health average. Currently, she said she doesn't have any markets. What she does is just she sits on the side of the road and she hopes someone will stop by and buy something. When we looked at the equipment she was using, we realized she was using a hand hoe. This is probably the reason why her back was bent. We offered her the program and she came to our training day. We taught her good agriculture practices. We connected her to a mentor. We also supported her with equipment that we had on the farm, which was a tractor to till her land, a planter to plant the seed, and a boom sprayer so that we can spray her crop against pests. At the end of the season, we went back and we assessed. What we found is that because of the changes she has made on the farm, she now had a harvest of 5,000 kgs, which is an increase of a fivefold. She also now was able to sell her maize at the Grain Marketing Board and make a profit of $950 that year, which is above the poverty datum line. Because of the increase, she has been now able to even send her grandchildren to school. She also dug a well and she's now able to access clean water. So before, she had no access to markets, but now she has a market. And now she doesn't have to worry about ruining her back by using a hand hoe, because she can use the tractor and the land cultivation equipment that is offered at Mnandi. We believe Mnandi is an example of what success could look like. Zimbabwe has a total population of 14 million people. These 14 million people live in 10 provinces and 59 districts. We have decided to target Marundra district because this is where our model farm is. Marundra district has a total population of 60,000 communal farmers. We did a survey and we found out 90% of these farmers currently have never received any agriculture training. They do not have any access to any markets, nor do they use any tractors, any planters, any boom sprayers to establish their crops. So we have decided that the 54,000 marginalized communal farmers are our target market. We hope to be able to access 54,000 farmers in the next 5 years. A question you might be wondering is, what does the competitive landscape look like in Zimbabwe in terms of agriculture? So we decided to share with you our competitive advantage and a graph to show the different players that are in agriculture. So we have the private sector. The private sector targets commercial farmers and is not working with communal farmers. We have government programs. So government programs, the challenge with them is that they're patriarchy in terms of political influence. And we find lots of our farmers have no political influence. So because of that, they're marginalized. We have other NGOs. Most of the NGOs in Zimbabwe are working on mainly dissemination of information through training or market support. They don't really support the farmers in terms of the tools that they would need to farm, like the equipment we mentioned earlier on, or inputs. So because of that, farmers get excellent training, information on markets, but that is about it, and they don't really have any way to start. So this is where we come in as Mnandi Africa, because we are offering support to rural communal farmers, supporting the same way a commercial farmer would get support. This is what our theory of change should look like. The output would be increased crop yield due to the use of improved agriculture practices. The outcome will be increased income for the families in the community. Our impact will be more children should be able to go to school, access health facilities, access improved sanitation. There's a popular saying in Africa that says, empower a woman, empower the community. Our value proposition is increasing revenue for rural women farmers who want to increase farm income. Mnandi Africa provides agriculture support from pre-planting to harvest. We are unlike most contractors that offer support to commercial farmers. Our product supports communal farmers by helping with access to knowledge, markets, and equipment. Over the past year, we have been able to train 500 women on good agriculture practices and connect them to mentors. From the 500 women, 100 women have been able to access equipment from us, that is tractors to till their land, planters to plant seed in the ground, boom sprayers to spray their crop against the harsh infestation of the armyworm last year. We went back and we profiled 150 women, 100 who accessed equipment, and 50 from the training. And what we have found is that the farmers have started to make an increment in terms of the yield that they are harvesting. On average, the 150 women have achieved 50% crop yield increase. As an organization, we sat down and we looked at what our strategic initiatives are for the next 2 years, and we bottled down to these three: human resources, infrastructure, and production. Human resources, we are looking at recruiting an advisory board by December 2019. Infrastructure, we are looking at investing in grain drying facilities and storage facilities by the end of 2019. Production, we're looking at signing on an increase of 100% farmers each season. Our unit economics. The first stage of promoting knowledge, we will be impacting 500 farmers who we train twice a year, before the summer season and before the winter season. These farmers, it would cost us $6.50 per farmer to train, meaning that we would need $6,500 each year to train 500 farmers. That will be our direct impact. The indirect impact is 500 times 2.5, which gives us 1,250 lives. We will also be hiring mentors, and our first year of this program, we will employ 10 interns who are on universities and will give them a stipend of $100 per month. In the second and the third year, we will be using our successful graduated farmers to become mentors of other farmers. These successful graduates, we would offer them a stipend of $50, and the $50 that we would have paid, instead of $100, because we asked them to give back to the organization. Then The next stage, which was the access to equipment. I haven't put it on this graph because we'll be using a company that will be outsourcing the services. So we're not going to cost it. Then the next stage of grain drying and storage facilities. This is an area that we want to expand into and make and impact more lives. We have calculated that the total cost for us to install grain dryers and storage facilities would cost us $150,000. But the capacity of these grain dryers have a capacity of a ton an hour. When we did our calculations, we saw that we will be able to service the 54,000 farmers in Marundra, but we put it at 80% reach. Totaling the impact that our organization's lives it will impact in the next 3 years, we expect to impact over 100,000 lives in the next 3 years. And for us to do that, it would only cost us $200,000. The next slide shows the financials of the crops that the farmers grow so that you can see how sustainable farming can be. So the number of hectares here is 500 hectares. Each farmer will be growing 1 hectare land. Their average yield revenue is $2,380 per hectare. We've shown our variable cost and some fixed costs, and the net profit that the net profit for the total 500 farmers. 10% is paid back to Mnandi for the administration costs that we offer them. And then for each household, we put that the net profit would now be $1,326.36. The total household income, this is for now including, because I was mentioning the maize, this is including the snap peas, will be $6,479, making the total daily household income $17.75. This is a huge increment from the current $1 a day they earn. For us to achieve our strategic initiatives for the next 3 years, we are looking at $200,000 investment in equity and grant funding. Our total payable is $646,000 and our net position is $453,000. To conclude, I'd like to share with you a popular African proverb. Alone, we can go faster, but together, we can go further. Tatenda, Maitabasa, thank you very much.